sound on. It looked like it's got input. Oh, yeah, good. It's working. Yeah, I don't know why people are so aggressive sometimes. I think it's Asian awareness arts. It's MMA kind of thing. Just being bullies, basically. I'm tired of that. So, but the Asian awareness arts is about mind, using your mind to comprehend some of the things you trouble with. Asian awareness arts is not just being taught. Asian awareness arts is being in the present moment, just like Thich Nhat Hanh, if you know him. That is my biggest teacher of all time, and I have many teachers in my path as well, and that makes me work with things that common people don't, because they just follow one teacher and then they learn that and then they finish that. For me it's stupidity in the long run. If you learn Asian awareness arts, it's more like, now I got this package, I like to learn Kung Fu from this package. And you can do that. You can also learn Aikido, you can learn ninjutsu, you can learn whatever martial art basically you want to learn from this perspective alone. It didn't take me long to learn the base principle of Ba Chi Chuan, for instance. Wing Chun principle. Ba Chi Chuan, therefrom, and Wing Chun, therefrom. Yeah, it didn't take me much long, because it's the same principle, and because Jet Li in Once Upon a Time in China actually using Wing Chun, I'm very sure. So, but also some of the dragon fist techniques, he showed that in one of those movies. I wish I had the whole package, by the way. Yeah, that would be a surprise if someone actually did that as a surprise gift. But be aware that maybe other people got the same idea. No, yeah. But the thing is that I'm making a donation thing going on for helping me start up the school and such things, and then I can begin to make some plans of my dreams of making the school. I know I can get students very quickly. It just the start kicking I need, and it will be good if I can make some form of investment, so I can begin to gain something in the long run. So because it will be much more easier, and I know there is people out there who are actually looking for a place in Tai Chi. It's not only Tai Chi. When I say Asian awareness arts, it just, this is what it's called, and my plan is that it will be a monthly fee, but then you can basically come whenever you want. If you got a Danish club in, yeah, of course Denmark, you can pull people in and you can say, hey, can we borrow this room for next weekend, for instance, because this guy is, then it will just be like, yeah, okay, you are on the rent, you are on the pay list as a whole club for around 500 Danish crown, and it will be just legal. Of course, it will go for foundings if overflow in some way, not directly, but I will manage it so it end up in the right hands, because steps. Making an impact, because there is some bills of having a place, but if I got a big investment plan running, then it can hold itself. Not much more to say, and that's my idea. That's, I want to earn for other people, and it will go, my donation will go to rehouse people, like getting a place where there's space for 20 people or something in Denmark, for instance. It can escalate, of course, if people connecting from the outside world and such things, if they making outposts for me and deal with the things there from, then I need administration power here in Denmark, but then things can just spread. But that's the idea. 20 housing, I will say that will be a fair amount to start with. It's only until they can survive themselves and find a home, then next person in. Keep rolling. So people can get a chance in life instead of this moral thing, destroying people. It's so easy to destroy people, trust me. Especially when you're more than one person. It's easy to bully a person out and your beliefs and such things. And that's also a thing. If you come to my place, all your beliefs in your martial art shall just be like zero grounded. It called it respect. Respect other people, even when you are greater than the other. You don't like, hey, I'm 8 Dan and I'm more important than your other. That's not how you're doing it. If you are here in my place, I expect you to be better here, not here. That's the idea. There is some rules in Asian awareness arts, but if you follow those rules, no problem whatsoever. It will just be like, okay, come inside, have a nice cup of tea. Let's figure out how we're doing and all these things. Because there is many people who want to be taught with different things, and sometimes there's just too little. And that's also a thing I will make possible for people who like to make Qigong, for instance. Qigong will be a thing in Asian awareness arts. Tai Chi will be a thing. Asian awareness arts cannot work without Tai Chi. If you want to learn about the elements, Tai Chi is the essential of learning anything. If you're not learning Tai Chi, you're basically ignorant. Because you have to know, why does this actually apply in your movement? How does it actually feel? Because Tai Chi, you're stretching energy much more than any other style I have seen so far. Kucho Akijutsu is the only one where I can say, okay, they are very similar to each other. In the past, they was using some of the same thing as Kucho Akijutsu was doing. Very wise way. And that's also a thing they can do. They can also just say, hey, can we borrow this because the person is coming and we don't know where the person shall rest, sleep. It will just be like, okay, yeah, just go ahead. That's what I want. I want it to be possible for a person to sleep overnight, have people in the room, like summer camp or something like that. What I know from karate, that it was possible, and very nice actually to be able to try sleeping with other people in martial art. Wake up in the morning, breakfast, Comfort is the word first of all. If people not feel comforted, no. And that's also why I say I don't teach people who are aggressive type. If you are MMA, forget about it if you are aggressive. If you are the person who comes over and say, I acknowledge your teaching. I am willing to be quiet all the 3 hours just to hear what you see. That's a big respect. Then I know you mean it. You have to be able to relax. As I say, any aggressive style I will not tolerate. So, and I have to know that you can control yourself. If I see, okay, that's fine enough, you understand the principle, then we can begin. And it no problem in karate. Of those I know, they can sit like half hour, maybe have problems getting up by after that, but they can do it. It's possible. If I was a teacher, they can sit there for a half hour. Those I know. They will dislike it, but they will do, and that's honor. Self-respect is the most important for me. That part I take from Japanese, but the rest is Chinese. Understanding, when you think it like a Tibetan monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, Dalai Lama, but also the Shaolin. If you mix all those, then you basically get Asian Awareness Arts. It's about the mind. Mind, if there is no teacher in mind, it will fall apart. Just like Tai Chi, if that's not integrated. You cannot be a teacher in my system without Tai Chi knowledge. You shall be able to teach other Tai Chi. That's how it is. It shall be so integrated that even if you forgot to get your form, you know what they shall be able to do. It shall just be a thing you do. You shall be feeling this movement here. It shall never be forgotten. If you shall keep the title of teacher. Of course, if you can be a mind teacher only, but that is a specific title because of your degree. If your other skills are non-existent basically and only got that one, you can be called teacher, but that's because of mind is important. A good, strong minded person don't need to learn all the other things, but it's difficult, very difficult, because you have to be basically perfect, and that's basically what you're going to be. Not perfect, but perfect in some understandings. Intelligence is only what can I do and what can't I do. Wisdom is knowing it will be basically inconvenient to do this. So it's just about getting the connections between martial arts. If there's something I really hate, that is when martial arts saying bad about another. If I can see they are doing things good and they talk bad about it, it's just like, okay, we can take the plug out if you really feel that way, because I don't agree with you. You see it your way, but in other condition I can see it better to use that form though they are doing. Yes, you might write you're not kicking the person's head off, but if you are in a room where you don't have space for it, maybe you should be able to be close distance as well capable of doing. Like, can you fight a person who is trying to wrestling you, trying to unlock you? Can you do that? I can see problems with taekwondo if they're not learning like how to get out in a situation like that. So and therefore it's about respecting other martial arts as well. I respect other martial arts. I want to learn and see if my elements also fit with this martial art. It will surprise me the day I see a martial art that not fitting the descriptions of all my 6 elements basic, with the 3 extras that are combinations. It will be a new thing for me, and maybe I will be able to figure out how it is pulled off and if it is a mixture of these 6 elements, because I know a lot about how it works in the body. Even though that I'm basically not master yet, like I say, I'm not a black belt yet compared to, but it's just matter of time before one of the degree goes up and I know so much that the world don't know. There is so much teaching they are missing, just like that. There's many Aidans I have seen, or high up ranked, where I understand the point of view. I know how they did it, and I am just trying to copy it. But it is slower than those who have done it for many years, but I will be able to prove it to you that it's actually working. I will prove to you, even when they are dead, I will be able to pull out things if it is hitting my level by using more power, using more focus. maybe if I use a lot of focus, I can prove it to you that it is like that. Even that I'm not 8 Dan, my mind are way higher ranked than my body. I have illness for 12 years, but I learned so much when I only was able to learn doing Tai Chi. I learned so much. I know so much about it that most Tai Chi exercises, even dance and such things, they don't know about. It's things that they have never felt before. There's just so much power and so much control in my structure. I'm getting stronger and stronger, and I can feel it in my energy. Just like now, right now. It doesn't look like much, but see here. I can literally do whatever I want. I cannot move it. See? That's metal structure combined with wood element. I can basically not move my arm at all at this point. So much power. Where does it come from? Are you strong? No, not particular. But there's a lot of technique in it. There's so much technique. We are not, like I say, if you have bigger muscle, it will be much more stronger than compared to me, of course. If you use the same technique, same principle, with the elements and becoming as strong, you will probably be stronger than me, but the thing is, compared to you, I am so close to maxed out what my body is capable of doing. How about you? You think you are doing things and such things, oh, I'm strong now. Yeah, you're strong now, but maybe I can make you a little more faster so you can punch even harder. Have you ever considered that thought? Like I say, here, this are not muscle. But what is it? And why does this fly back? It's just the bouncing of energy. It have to relax like a bow. If you're shooting like this, that's the same thing you're doing here. Same principle, basically. But you have to know how to extend yourself. Just like I say, you don't need to be strong to do this. You just need to know how to relax enough. Your water elements shall be so clean that I literally can do this with you. Waving. Here. You should be so soft in water to begin to pull it out. And then metal in this end section. Pam! Let's make it possible. Or three, or any hard element. There's only three, so take your pick. But also fire and all the other things, but we're not comparing what it means to breathe in our exercise so much. I can explain everything that is needed. Breathing is one of the most important things you can do. No matter what style you do. Breathing. Number one, going and water. Breathing and water. Those two, the rest, you don't need to learn more, basically. You can defend yourself, you will be able to, and you can do a lot of things from water. You don't need much more energy than water. Drunken fist, basically. And drunken fist builds a lot with water and air. Like that. And not many teachers I have seen being able to be good at actually using Drunken Fist. I've seen attempts, but it is like, it's not that fun to see a green belt fighting a person who is brown belt. It's not that fun, because yeah, you are higher end, but that doesn't matter so much. Because you're not gaining XP from it, basically. You learn nothing from it, because the Drunken Fist is not working correctly. The person have to know how the movement is. You shall be it. Just like Tai Chi. As I say, Asian awareness arts, minimum Tai Chi and one Kung Fu will be very appreciated, that you learn that. Those two things combined is a very good start. That can basically access you to the key to being a teacher. But in my case, you also have to learn about the elements, how it actually working. You shall be mastering the element enough so you can show how everything is moving. And as I say, I'm only becoming stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. If you see me now, if I get a place, you will be able to see the evolvement. I also need some katas, you can say. I want katas who can focus on water, but I don't want the katas only made by myself. I need people who also know about water, very deep indeed. I need people who very strong in water to make this form work. Yeah, it will basically be called form, but I want this done so it become very simple, so you don't have to learn so much, but few techniques, and make this form, so you can line it up with the next element and the next element and the next element, so you just have one collected form in the end that makes the whole form in the right order. Why do we going from water, wood, air, fire and metal? Why always that? I can only say one thing. It's the most simple. So you got it here with the water, sway. That one. Lin is it not? If I remember right, it's forest. But Lin also explained the thought I was thinking. And then we got air up here, which I don't remember. Hui, which is fire. Hu, oh yeah, Hu, fire. Metal, I cannot remember. Yeah, I didn't put it down there, but yeah. And then you got your earth element combined. When it's circled like this, it also explains our day rhythm, our body function. Everything can be explained with only this little symbol here. If you begin to understand the elements, you also begin to see, hey, it actually also fitting the understanding of science in many cases. Because science works the same way. They start with collecting some data. Then they begin to think about what they got of data. It's called process data. Yeah. And then you got air. That's where you're getting ideas. Oh, so if that is correct and this is correct, then there must be a connection here. And fire is working with the thing to connect the joints so you actually can prove that your thought is correct. Metal is when it's solid. Now it is complete, or you're taking a break. And the earth is when it is totally done, when there's no more doing. Else you start the process all over again, all over. Keep going and keep going and keep going until there is no error whatsoever. And it might sound like a cult, but it is very simple. You can learn it yourself. You can evolve from there yourself. I don't need to do anything. When you got the guidance, you don't need basically what I'm saying. You will be able to process it yourself. So this one here is actually the guide. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's just Hitchhiker's Guide through the Tai Chi and martial art and life and everything, basically. So 42. If you know that one, yeah, that's basically it. And if you think, why is it like this? And why are we not using the 7 chakras? This is basically the 7 chakras we are actually talking about, but not in the same way. 7th chakra is very good when we're talking about working with your inner self. When you are, what you can say, if you really want to get a good flow to start with, that is very good for that purpose. Just like knife and operation knife. Chakras is like an operation knife. This is more like an all-round knife. They can basically do the same thing, but this is more all-round. It's more consistent structure. So if you want to learn about this and you know about the chakras, that's basically the same thing. But not in the same order. But this one you use, for example, for instance, for martial art. If you want to pull something, the 7th chakra is not ideal. You can maybe come to a level, but I will say it will take way longer time before you get there. Well, this one is just straight away. What do I do? Okay, this one is probably the thing I need. Slap. The day I actually make the book, because I'm terrible at spelling, so when I'm texting. But I hope I get my program up and running so I can actually make a book. But it's not that easy yet. But I really dream of it, making a book about it, where I describe everything needed in elements, everything. Why does it work? How it's feeling like when you are in the right condition. All the descriptions. So I don't need to teach you directly. But it also, many people believe their own feelings, but it is deceiving us. Sometimes we need to figure out, is this one taking over, or does this take over? Is it actually a feeling that is correct? Because that is the difference between fake and reality. If you got this one, your martial art will not be fake if you work from here. It just matter of how to get the energy out. It doesn't matter if it is a movement but like this. Yeah. But this one here, there's no power, no force, you can see. But if you're making this with a little more tree, then we begin to talk about it. And this is just a minor thing. It's just a little change. It's not like I'm doing it the way it's supposed to, but you can see it's much more efficient than clapping. And this is basically only water. If you only water and you're not having much energy from it, it will not move anything. But if you extend the force wave, then it can get to a movement. So that it's not like this element is the only one to use, or you shall use this and this for this technique. It's more like this and this might be most easy to learn, but it will be good if you also learn this and the other one here, those two here, fire and metal. Yeah, I'm not used to doing things like that. And also earth will come in the final. It's just like the 7th chakra. When you begin to be here, that is earth. If you're working with your chakras, this is earth in my structure. It's a little opposite, and it doesn't make sense right now, maybe. But it is more like it's the healing part of yourself. It is a good earth. Your mind are strong. And that make your life quality strong as well. So it's your foundation, your lowest chakra when we compare to the other one. If you are good, strong here, you're also good, strong in your lowest chakra, if that makes sense. It's more theory than than I can explain, because there's so much in this, and I really try to put everything into it. Also that this is yin, 2 yin, 2 neutrals, and 2 yang. Fire element in itself is not bad. It's just a yang. It is most normal to, when we grab something, that we're using a little force to grab it. But we don't need to. We can also be like water. See? I'm not grabbing it. I'm pulling it. Oh, I'm not grabbing it at all. So therefore it is very simple. Hello. So you can call it like a compass in martial arts. Where is my problem? Let's see. Okay, I don't feel much flow, but that is not that one yet, because I can increase. Okay, that I got some structure. Okay, this tree is not a problem either. What is it then? Is it air? Is a connection? Do I breathe correctly? Oh, maybe there's something here that is not released. Oh, that's where it is. So you actually can use it like a model, where you can say, what's wrong here? Why are my technique not working correctly? Or why can I not spin around? Can also be explained just by these 6 elements. But there is the last one as well because of the 7 chakras. The 7 chakra here is everything combined. So not only the sex element in there, it's also the yin and yang and all the things, when all fit in harmony. That way you become enlightened in martial art. Then you are those teacher that do basically nothing. That is enlightenment. That is when you are in the highest position of Shotokan Karate, Taekwondo, whatever you call it, doesn't matter. That is the explanation why this work. Why does something else not work? I've seen it in Okinawan martial art. A person doing this and could not get up here. Why? Simple. Because wood element was strong enough. No problem with force, because there was a lot of force, more force than I show here because I'm sitting. But somehow it not stopping. The person will be able to be hit. The problem was simple. Wood element was strong, air was strong, but water was not enough. There was not enough water element. If water element shall flow correctly, it comes all the way up where it's supposed to be. So therefore, and I was only white belt back then, but I could see it. Just right away, just by knowing this, I could say, oh, it's a water element that is the problem. In actuality, I will be better teacher. Just being the one who just guide the element than the teacher itself, basically. But of course, we need structure. They need their structure, of course, and I acknowledge it. I don't know that much about it, but when there's something's wrong, then I'm better at correcting because of the elements. Structure here. I can see things right away. Where other is more like, oh, I see an arrow, yeah, but yeah, and then you can correct and correct and correct. But sometimes it's something inside here, in the body, that's not working correctly. And then you can do teaching, and the person will never get it before the water comes. And then the flow can come all the way up. There. So, and that's the problem with the world in that matter. We don't have time to listen to ourselves, our body, and the other person's body. But I have, and that's why I'm making a founding. That is to raise donations things, is to make this school, because I know I can get a lot of people, so money will not be a problem after I have started it up, but I need a little kick-off because the apartment was a little expensive in itself to get to. So, but just the basic needs, and of course it will be open for other schools as well, as long there's someone who is connected to it and what you can say paying monthly for a whole group, then they can use it. Just, yeah, you're welcome, just invite the person, here's a room, he can sleep here or she can sleep here, bam. That's the idea. I want to connect everything. As long as they are nice and able of being relaxed and such things and not being harsh. If something I don't like is harsh people. Harsh teachers, no. Then they have to learn to use their attitude better. Because they need to learn more about the mind then. You shall be schooled to be a teacher in my system. Because you need to be in a higher level than your students. Not just degree wise, but also in mind. You shall be showing them. You should be able to go into the location and they can just feel, things. That's what the monks actually teaching, learning, and therefore my background is from. This is basically just an explanation of all the things I have seen from all my teachers in my past. And so far, it just fits. Whatever I've been taught, this fits the role model. So, and because of my, what you can say, yin and yang is not balanced in me, but my mind is way ahead of my own body. My body cannot do it, but I can prove high level stuff, like a video clip, seeing it and figure out how to do that. And when I got the idea, I can probably prove it. I will at least try my best to make a point. Here is it. So you just need a much more attention, maybe a little more sharpness in it, then it can be done. It's like you can basically come in and test out the idea. Is this possible for you to do? And if I can do something very close to it, then we know it is possible. That's what my teaching is about. It is, how do I achieve this? Not work around and such things. I want it simple. I want it to be a location where you can use your mind, figure out what's going on now, what is the deal, why do my katas not work that well, what is it with this? That is what the school is about. That's where you come to and get the answers you maybe struggle of getting because of your teacher is maybe ignorant. Maybe the person is not good at that specific thing. And that's the difference from my teaching type and other teachers. Other teachers want to take the whole class and say, this is my lesson today. My difference is, if I know that as a person who is way better at form, like Tai Chi for instance, or Kata, doesn't matter, I will pick that person. I will never pick myself if I'm not comfortable about it. If I know that person is way better and like to teach, then I know this guy. Just follow this guy and such things. Bam. And listen to the person. But the overall training will still be me. It just, then I can focus on what I attend that they shall include in the training. But it's more like including the learning they learn and know. Like tempo. If I say, okay, try to do the half tempo of what you're doing normally. In Shotokan Karate, okay, hand Godan, then they're doing it, and then I can see, okay, you got the idea still, but there is some minor adjustment here to clear out and getting more power instead of doing something that might lock your body to not perform well, because just by locking in like this, just a simple thing like this, little too much metal, and you become more struggled. If you're more relaxed, you can get much more speed, and it is the same energy. Trust me, it is the same energy. I'm just doing something else to prevent my energy to flow correct, and that is water. Water can be dammed up. Tree can be dammed up. The energy in itself is like a mote all around, and it takes something from the element difference, but it's still acting, energy acting like water in the understanding here, and take things with it around. And in the end, all the elements come into the core. Very simple. But if you begin to learn Tai Chi that way therefrom, you will begin to understand everything much more clear, and that's why Asian awareness arts is heavily based on Kung Fu and Tai Chi. But not like it's only that. You can be a support teacher without knowing any of those. It's a different story, because support teachers just mean that they don't have Tai Chi and they don't have Kung Fu, or one of them only. But it doesn't say they're not good at what they're doing. It's just support teacher, meaning I can pick someone and say, hey, teach us about karate, teach us about taekwondo, teach us about whatever they want to. Difference from MMA, Asian awareness arts is about respecting and understand and being able to perform that martial art that you are saying you're doing. If you say taekwondo, I want to see taekwondo, then it's taekwondo, not mixed it. Mixed martial art, you mix it all together and blend it up. Asian awareness arts is to be truth to your teaching also. You can mix them. It's okay to do that. But when I say taekwondo, if I say I want to see that tiger, then you shall do it. Then you shall be able to clean it out with any other martial art. Else you're not Asian awareness art. You're not aware in your what you're doing. And that's also why I didn't get taught in Kung Fu when it was in Aarhus, because they mixed it. They mixed the understanding of Kung Fu, and it was definitely not the same way Shaolin monk was. So, and I didn't have, what you can say, capital to go to Shaolin monk temple and such things. So I learned from movies, clips, and all the things. And back then, YouTube was not a thing. So I was the highest skilled in Denmark, knowing about it without being there. Just like Jackie Chan, Drunken Fist, I have 26 years experience of Drunken Fist. I know how to use it properly, efficiently. Compared to others who just it's not fun to see someone who not knowing Drunken Fist that well making a fight with a person who's basically brown belt or higher. It's not that fun. It's, yeah, he will lose because his grounding is not there. He's missing some of the things that makes Drunken Fist strong. Like this, he's missing. Because Drunken Fist is like 2 to 3 times faster than Tiger Style. So if you're not familiar with that structure, then you're not in balance. It's your yin and yang is not in balance at all. Then you're basically not brown belt. I can eliminate that just by that movement alone. Yin and yang not in balance, you're not brown belt. That's simple. Green belt, maximum. And that's how I degree things, by the way. It's like you got nothing, white belt, kind of like yellow belt, green belt, brown belt, and then you got 2 done. That's how the system is, but you not only having it for one group. That makes it a little more viable, because I got 4 categories with the same degree system. You got the mind out here. Mind is the first defense of everything. The second defense is defending, being able to block a person and then grab the person down and make the person unable of attacking, and maybe you run. I don't know. But definitely that you can react very quickly. Then you got the technique. That's the third thing. If you got technique, you can make much more predictable for you what's going to happen. You can predict where the person is going, and you're having much more connecting and such things. And then we got chi reflex, and chi reflex is not used by any other martial art than Tai Chi and Kucho Akijutsu. Those two, I know for fact they are using it very much. In theory, you don't need all the other things. If your chi is so great, you don't need to learn to defend yourself using your mind or learn any techniques. But it have a big catch. If it fails, it's just like air element. It dropping dead very quickly. Either it works or not. So that is your final thing. And I can say by standard rule, if you are in the mind of yin here, up in the brain, you get 10% more chance to win, and that is added. So if you got, let's say you're standing with a person and there's 50-50, if you just is centered in your mind correctly, you got 60% versus 40. So you can increase your level of chance of winning just by little. Not exactly, but you can see people can also extend over the degree, of course, and such things, but it means that you will not use so much energy compared to the other one when doing things. There's so much I got to tell and such things, and that's why I want to start this school, because I have so much goal to give. I can work with mind, I can work with your inner body. My stomach was actually destroyed. 12 years I was not able to do anything else than Tai Chi. Tai Chi was the only thing I could do, but it maintained the Chi, and that's why I found out that was important. But it is many teachers who got me into this, and one of them is from movie, Jet Li, Twin Warrior or Tai Chi Master. That one is the best description where I saw it one-to-one. It was important. It was not just like, if Jet Li is talking about it, he knows what he's talking about. He have been on the Shaolin school. He is equally good at everything he do. And that make me think, okay, maybe Tai Chi teachers not teaching me that, but if he talking about it and he doing Tai Chi in that movie, and he is, then there must be something here, because he can do it very well. He can use it in defense and all these things. So he must be right in this matter. I have not yet seen a teacher actually match his defense mechanism. Many YouTubers with Tai Chi and such things, yeah, it's a little, yeah, grandmaster, but in my eyes and in my system, they are basically just brown belts. So taking a person up against the fifth dan or fourth dan, not that fun to watch, because I can see their reflex is definitely not there. Chi reflex not connected. I am faster than them. Just to take it, point it out, not to criticize them like that, but it's just they not seeing it themselves, and that I pity them for, that they don't, because then they have to seek someone like me, for instance, because I can teach it. I can make your muscles much more flexible, even when you struggles with things. It's a whole other way of working with muscles. Most of us just work with the thing, just like using your car. But when you begin to think about the elements here, it's like saying, okay, I acknowledge my clutch might not need to every time I'm coupling the car. It's like to be more zip, gentle, 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 coming up in speed instead of slam, slam. No, not that good for engine either. And that's basically what this is about, learning you to clutch better. It's very simple. It's not like some what you call it, a belief or something. It's just when you move like water, then you also feels it like touching water when you are an opposite person. And that's make it more harder to push you, because you are not there, you're not flowing, so I cannot push you. I cannot push my arm around. I can make it, but then it's just bending around, just like a snake. So if you're doing this to a snake, I'm very sure it will just bend over and snap on the top. Probably, because it will be stupid to do this bite here. It will be much more efficient to do here, because then it's gone very quickly. And that's water, by the way. Tree element we can use to many things. Tree elements is also growing, the force pushing, but you can also be more flexible, and you can bend energy out and make it like a bow. You see? So you can structure it up, and that is Okinawan style very much into this element. Wood element are very used in this one. Specifically that karate style. I cannot remember what it is, but Mr. Miyagi version. And then we got air, and air is the most defensive structure of them all, but also aggressive if you're doing it right. But you have to be very consistent with it to actually make it work. What martial arts style is most air? I think it's only what I have seen so far. I only can think of my own swan technique, because it is very flexible, but the movement of is like a hurricane slap. Something it is picked up, and that's how air element is actually working when you're using it often, because you need such here, not enough energy. Here, here, here. You can hear I even speeding up, but this is air in aggressive, but it have to be like here. It have to be like windy enough to actually make an impact. Else you are only in degree 1 to 2, what I call it. The energy levels shall be up to 3 or beyond. That's the only time where air element is actually useful. It is known also in the blade structure of Shaolin sword, the bendy one, is also known there, but I don't know if they're using it all the time. But it's definitely one of the things in consideration. Fire, yeah, that's basically every martial art except for Tai Chi. And in some cases, Aikido and Kojoake Jutsu. But other, that is basically just fire into it, because else you cannot attack. But it's very rare to also use without fire. Then you have to replace it with either air or water. Either then you cannot really attack. You need to have some form of kick into it. Of course you can have some focus on a metal and such things and use that for cutting like that. It will work, but you have to realize that as soon as you're doing this movement here, you are actually using either this one, or fire. So to gain the energy you need to make the cut, you need at least those 3 to start the process. And then the other ones here in the lower section, in this section here, those heavier element, 3, earth and metal, that's what you're using for attacking with in cases. You can also use the other, but it's very difficult to pull off energy. Earth can do it, but it's harder to do it, that like pulling up, because you have to understand Einstein's relativity theory and feel it. So if you don't know that, at least feeling it, then it will not work, because then you're too grounded. So you have to free yourself. But it's also the upper element when you're doing it correct. Hello. And metal. Yeah, we have described the metal where that is from. Samurai cutting, the 10,000th cut is considered, especially those movements where there's a little more structure to it, where it, like this, pam, pam, where you feel more heavy in your movement, more controlled, more structured. That's when we're talking about metal. But metal, you actually need air. It sounds strange, but it's actually different. It's opposite you need. So you need a lot of air to make metal. Doesn't make sense right away if you think about it too much. But the sooner you realize that actually to be more like metal, you don't squeeze your muscles like this. You are relaxing, and then focusing energy. When you're focusing your energy with air, then you get metal, very strong metal. I can literally, if I take a random person who have no experience whatsoever, I can make that person ground at least twice as much as normal. Just by describing it, by pointing the person and make structure work correct, the person can feel it right away. And that's also elements. But there is three other elements. I know I am not talking about the earth, because earth is the combined knowledge of the other elements, and that makes earth. Earth is a fundamental structure. So it's not that different from Chinese 5-element structure. I'm just including air because I found out it was important. And when you're teaching other people, because you skip a joint when you jumping just from wood element and directly over to fire. You skip an important lesson. I know there's 8 element as well. I am aware of that, but that is part of the 3 elements, sub-elements, and they are made from these elements in different ways. There's sound, and there is lightning, and there is combustion, and those 3 are very efficient on their own different ways. Sound, if you're using sound very efficiently, the person will not notice that you're changing the person's structure. And talking about structure, that's basically what I'm doing when I'm making people understand the element, how it feels and such things. I'm going in with that and make a frequency the body responds on the way I want it to respond. So if you begin to think about it, it's much more complex knowledge I got compared to other teachers you have ever seen before, because I can go literally in and change your meridians to be more opened. Some cases, but I don't guarantee it, but in some cases I make miracles with this element. But as I say, it's most likely the reason that the body needed to be more flexible. That's my explanation. And I give the muscle and your body the flow it needs to regenerate faster. Else I cannot explain it. Then it is everyone's guess. Lightning is the most different things from everything in elements because it have no force in itself. The connection are like charging up like a Tesla coil and string out, but there's no punch to it. It's not like it's basically not there, but it connects. Combine it with someone else on this scale and you're getting a very decent punch out of it. But I'm not using much energy, I'm just collecting energy, and just like a geyser, just suddenly it explodes. That is also an explanation. And combustion is a mixture of air and fire. Of course, some fuel in theory, and that works basically like a combustion engine. You squeeze something and you release energy from that point. going out, in and out, pam, pam, pam. How exactly doesn't matter so much, but I know one thing, that I'm pretty sure I can make a van in free gear, flat terrain. I will be able to push in short amount of time to about 5 kilometers per hour, I will guess, because there is so much force into it. When I used it with my father, who is not there anymore, he was the most grounded person I ever met in my life. And he was, at that point, when we were using it, 90 kilograms. Just 90 kilograms of person who was very good at grounding. Wicked yin level, if you know wicked yin grounding, when he was just focusing just a little, like, because he was heavier also. But that one here, those in Taekwondo you use to kick to those plates there from, he was handing that because I knew I shouldn't use it on my dad, because too much power force, I'm very sure of. And correctly, I moved him 2 meters away, like he was not even grounded. It was just like, and he was out. There's so much force in it. I sometimes use it just to walk up the hill, because it is so strong, because I can also put it down the legs also. They can also do the same movement. And that makes it much more easier to walk uphill. In fact, my breathing and such things are not breathing as heavy as if I'm just walking up normally. It's like half of normal, but I still get it. So it means that I basically can run uphill without breathing much more than if I walked up. Kinda. We are talking twice the speed, of course, not more, but it bursts so much energy out of momentum. You just freeing your energy. You can feel it if you're doing this and you're squeezing here and out here. You can feel it. But the trick is to do it from here, because you're not always having contact. Sometimes you need to block a person, like he strangle you. You need to going in here and then push him away. You don't have space to go in again, so he can strangle you again. That only makes it more difficult to do it, trust me, on that one. So every of those aspects, and lightning can also do other things than just lightning and such things. It can also be like, you can go in, and if you're doing it correctly, combine it with, for instance, if you're using Tai Chi and you put the person in out of position, by using lightning you can also release very quickly, like this, and make the person move away much faster than the person normally will be able to. But you have to find the right moment to do it. It's like, if you need a tool to work, you don't just plug it in and use it first before you're ready to do the tool, because then it will just lay and use a lot of energy for nothing. You use the tool when you need the tool, basically. There we go, and then we turn it off. Then we can duck, and rearrange, and that's what you're using lightning as well. Lightning is only a split second. Here is the grounding, and there, energy. But I got way more to teach than I explaining here. This is just theory. But all comes from these 6 elements. The 6th element is all we need. It's not like Godish or something like that. It's just like nature is just doing this way. And if you learn it, you can do it yourself. You don't need me, basically. It make it a little more easier to be teacher. Because if you understand those elements therefrom, you can be support. You can be support as minimum. Then you don't need so high a degree, because you just need to know the most important things. Like I have said before, Tai Chi and Kung Fu is the minimum requirement to learn elements. But you don't need to be very good at Kung Fu. You just need to have some knowledge, like blocking, pow, punch. You don't need to block kicks or something. You just need to know how Kung Fu is working. Pow, like that. In. Pow. Like the elementals or whatever. Doesn't matter which style. Just that you know Kung Fu is enough, because you need a little kick to learn to be teacher and the elements, because Tai Chi cannot do it all by itself, because of fire is missing very much in Tai Chi. And Drunken Fist is one of the most reliable to learn water. Don't let you fool by Drunken Fist. You don't need to drink. You just need to know the structure of Drunken Fist. How does it work? How does I apply that to Tai Chi? When I'm doing the movement, how does it apply so I can feel the right energy comes out? Because energy difference from Qigong. Qigong is more inside. It's more imagined. Until a person touch you, you know the difference. In Tai Chi you have much more touching, therefore you also know, oh, it's working now. It's working as intended. The water is bending the person's structure, so if I do this and I do this, that's water. It seems like, how do that apply? But I am very structured about it. If I do this, like this, here, you can see, I cannot pull. But water can bend, just like taking the structure with me. Same thing can be applied, but water is not as consistent. If you say like standing in a boxing position, you need to know exactly where to put the person in position before it actually working to, let's say, stretch the person out. You have to do it in one go. You don't delay it. The water shall flow and flow, not flow and then stop halfway. If it stops halfway, more learning is needed. Trust me, more water is needed, much more. Every defense starts with water. Karate, yeah, water. You start with Getamai, yeah, but it's more slappy and splashy in the beginning, and then later the element of tree will be more apparent and be more structured, and that's where we want to go, from water to tree and around and around. And for some reason that I cannot explain, and I saw it before I even knew these elements was there, I saw that there was a ribbon, and if you combined the ribbon with the right elements, then you're learning. But if you're not shifting gears, if you're not open for wood element, then you will learn nothing in that period of time. It will just skip over. You will not learn anything. Then you first comprehend more if you have air element, and so on. There was like timing. Now it's a good time to learn this element. Now it's good time to learn metal. I knew that about 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. Because I was 20 when I learned Tai Chi, and I was doing karate at that time as well, and got brown belt, by the way. On half time, also half time per week, I was able to pull it off, but because I could restructure myself and redevelop all what I'm doing, focusing. In theory, I could go up to black belt if I wanted to, but katas doesn't say me anything anymore, not really. I don't mind working with for other people getting better at katas or anything. That's their path. What I'm focusing on is the element, what you're doing with your energy, and it is good to have a standard. If I can see, okay, I don't know this kata, but I can see you need a little more water here. You need a little more relaxation. That's a little more to tension in this specific technique. All the other might good. Just that one little movement that is off compared to all the other. And we cannot just go blind as I see it, because then we are dependent on our teachers. Was it not supposed to be like, I'm not supposed to be dependent on my teacher? That's what this is all about also. All element applies in everything I do. Even as simple as taking a glass of water. Glass of water, feeling the flow coming in. Feeling, sinking, going down to the body, feel it stretching out the water in my body, feeling better. All that is awareness, Asian awareness arts. Same thing. Yin Ji is more like the yin or feminine force. Because I know for a fact that many people are learning Tai Chi the yang way, not the form of yang or style of yang, but it's more yang based. Not many learn about the Qi from yin. And also other martial art ignore yin very much. Only Kushu Akijutsu actually talk about yin more directly, just like Tai Chi also do when you got the right teacher. It just so few people that actually training yin, and therefore I'm a yin teacher because it is needed. It's needed now. Therefore I teach yin. When I teach yin, I'm there to give. And when I get a school up and running, it also open for people from other places to come. I hope one day that I can get economy enough so you can buy a school or something I know about. You can get here if I get enough funding, then it can be happening. If there is someone, I will say, "Ooh, that is interesting," or maybe they just give away and say, "Okay, here's a package the person will like to give. Here you can get a gift card or something like that. I don't know exactly, but administration, not my power. But organization is one of them I'm very good at. Organizing. Because of my autism, it's like the one is full points on and the other is just trash. So I need something that can balance it out. Yeah, what more to talk about? The way we are using our mind. Our mind, when you're using karate, when you're using anything, even the simple thing like opening a door that's a little troublesome, we shall not see the door as an opponent, and the opponent shall not even be considered as an opponent. The person is teacher. The door is teacher. The point is, the best way of learning, start with water. No matter if you taught it in using Tai Chi and such things, try giving in fully on water and keep going onto the water. Feel the flow when you're opening the door, that it is like sucking the door open and not pulling. That movement, when you can get that right, and it just like flies open by itself, then you have witnessed the first release correctly. The same with opponents, when you can going in and you can bend the person like no big deal, and even in a fight, then you know you have gotten it. But there is rules in Asian awareness art, and that is forbidden to hit the person in itself, because the person is teacher. The person that is attacking is role of teacher. Teacher may not hurt student in my rule, because he is greater than that, but he is there, so he can say, okay, poof, here, try bend me, try get me out of this position where you cannot be struck if I'm, in theory, kept going like this. You shall be able to figure out, how to do this, how can I pull the person, oh, there's too much force here, oh, maybe, oh, that was a technique that works, okay, there, that was more efficient, and then you can go in there, and then you can continue. And never locking the person in itself either, when you're defending, because if you're locking, you're wasting time. More punches, more flexibility in your movement means a lot more time to understand it. Oh, that was something wrong I did here. What's the difference? Okay, again. That was. So you working with it faster by doing it multiple times without actually fighting each other, but helping each other evolve. Then they shift forth and back. That's the model. It's very simple. The Asian awareness art structure. But it's not all. Like I said before, I want a form for every element there is. Maybe there will be one day one for every aspect, but it will be like, if you try this, then you might not up to it. You're not ready for it, maybe. It's you will not gain the gold from it. I will predict that it will be a problem, because I certainly not got there yet. But I have found glimpse of it, so I know it is there. I just getting up there sometimes, just like, oh no, gone. Just like other people talking about quantum physics. And talking about quantum physics, Earth element is basically quantum physics. Newton's law is not wrong. About if you want to make bridges and such things, you can make force, down force, commitment in the thought. But in reality, and Einstein's relativity theory is that there's time difference. Time goes faster higher up than the lower part. And when it is multiple more times here, pushing down here than up here, then it will move downwards. And when something is stopping you, the force is only upwards. So if you're doing this like here, and you try and make it like a spring here, and you take this structure to the earth and doing this, you can feel the punch going up, but you don't feel the gravity itself actually doing anything. So there is only upwards. If I release here from the energy, it springs up again. That's basically the same principle with gravity. So when we're using Earth, we're feeling the same way. Here, pam. So that makes a movement down first and then up. Feeling getting squeezed upward. And that's how Earth is actually applied. So when we understand that principle, then we actually got the idea why things are different. It's like time waves. But in actuality, time doesn't exist in itself, but speed does. And when we actually look at a clock, and this is mind-blowing maybe for you, when we're looking at a clock, it is movement we are measuring, not time. Movement of particles make time possible. If we remove the movement, time stops for that particle. Only that one, not the other around. But that one can be moved and be in another place without knowing. In theory, if I get frozen down in theory and I'm getting moved, I will not experience being moved, but I will experience before and after. So it'll just be like, what? Where am I now? Oh, you are in French now. Okay, I didn't realize that. Yeah, but we moved you and it was a struggle to get you there. So it was not a teleportation. Good to know. Basically just like that. You will not notice. And that's basically the fifth law in my dimension understanding. Maybe they have labeled it different, but in my opinion, it has much to do with time, because non-time is actually also a thing. Non-time means places where time does not exist because there is nothing, for instance, or light speed, or frozen down so much that nothing is moving. In those conditions, everything changes. That is why the non-dimensional thing is actually doing something to entanglement. Just in short notice, entanglement means that light doesn't really know where it is waving. We just know it waving, but the light in itself, until we do something, don't know what arrangement it actually is. But as soon as two things connect to each other, by light for instance, crossing each other, they are aligned opposite of each other. And that's the only rule we know. How they do it, and in what direction they're doing it, no one knows. Everyone's guess is legal, basically. Except for the truth. But we don't know the truth because we cannot figure it out. But the thing is, when light crosses each other, the other one will always be opposite of the other one. If we arrange some filter on the one side that is crossing only if it is wavelength sideways, the other one will always be upwards in that matter. So it will be opposite every time, for some reason. How they are connected is very simple. Because of time dilations. They don't know they have crossed each other. They think they still connected. And that makes a mind-blowing thought. And that's basically also Tai Chi. When you're getting to the highest point of Tai Chi, and I can show it sometimes also, when we're talking about techniques in itself, Tai Chi is not chosen what element I'm using before the connection. Here, structure, here, water, flowing, fire. See, Tai Chi have no, it's like superposition. It is not one of them and all of them at the same time. It's like Schrödinger's cats with much more outcomes. But in this case it's more like, does it eat the wet food or the dry food, or does it drink water and something else? Doesn't it eat at all? This time it's more like that, basically. And so it will be much more unpredictable when you're using it in freeform push hand. In teaching, you choose one element to demonstrate the structure of it. Wei Jin does it also without maybe knowing it, but he do it. I can feel it when you're doing it, and I can counter very much of his pushes. 7 times in a row, I just whit, until he got into my structure. Then I couldn't resist it, but I resisted a lot before that happened. And that makes him very good, of course. But how good, I don't know yet. Not that I will say he's bad or anything, it's just there is some lacks behind it, and in overall he's very good, but something is missing, and that's what I feel when I see people doing Tai Chi. They're missing something, and I can only in the moment I'm touching, I can feel what it is. So if I shall correct people, I shall be in contact with them, so I can feel exactly where is the problem. Because there's many more laws than just the elements, of course. If you got all the elements, that means, okay, now you got this, but there's something different. And that can be like trespassing. Without trespassing balance, it doesn't ring a bell for most people probably. But I know for a fact that if you're not having trespass, you cannot punch because you are discounting your own forward movement. You're not preventing it from collapsing in the other side when you're punching, because when you're pushing energy, there's also pushing energy backwards, and the backslap of it is what we're using trespassing for, is to prevent us from collapsing. It will make us go punch instead of collapse in the punch. It's more rules than that, and that also method, if you didn't know, that is trespassing. But I don't need to describe it to people, I just need to say, hey, the trespassing is working. There we go, see, now I can do it. Not a common problem, but in cases you feel that you're collapsing when you're punching, then you know. Then your trespassing is not strong enough. Then you have to make connection from this point to the opposite leg. And I can do it in matter of a minute or less. The fastest is the 10 seconds, I think, or 5. With all those students I had in my past, I was only 2 years in and I was starting to teach other, but I also knew about Kung Fu before that, so I knew things that, not on my level by the way, but I was able to going in and doing some things. But I'm also very good at it. That's why I'm seeing myself as a teacher. Teacher of yin, teacher of the element. It's way deeper and I wish to make a book. But one of the downside is that I'm not that good at texting. It's like I'm describing you 3 dimension here and there's only one-lined text. Because picture here and such things, oh, but you can put pictures in the book and such things. Yeah, but that's not how autism is working. The working of autism I also have to describe. Even when you see something like this one, I also need to make a picture of it that makes sense. And it is very hard when you have 8 basically personalities trying to work a book together. Try imagine that you're taking 8 people just to make one book, combine it. Too many inputs. And what to write the next line? Because one of the other is taking over now. And then this one taking over, and this one taking over. When I'm talking, it's more like focused on the now, on the present moment. When I'm texting, it glide out, and everything comes down, or maybe even block me from writing, because too many inputs. And that is a problem as well. So yeah, it makes very difficult to make a book that just explains the elements compared to Tai Chi, because that is the role model. If you want to be a teacher in Asian awareness art, have some knowledge in Kung Fu and know Tai Chi. You should be able to teach Tai Chi. That's the minimum requirement. One form is only required. Other forms, okay. Many people say, do one form over and over and over again. Me, do element, and you will learn how to do Tai Chi form. It's the opposite. For me, it's opposite, because it's from the inside. I get my energy. I feel the energy coming out. The way I feel it, when I say water, I feel water flowing inside me, tinkling like water. When I say tree, I feel my structure becomes more woody and more growing power. And that can also be fast. Air, then I feel the airflow. I even noticed where the wind is going. Is a little upwind or downwind? What's going on? Especially when it's blowing, when I am out and it is windy, I can use that energy to make myself move. And that's also wind element. That is the most easy one to gain if it is windy where you live. Very good exercise, by the way. If you can move your hands without using your own energy, and you can guide it where you want it to be, then you begin to understand at least the air element. Very good to learn, by the way. Water and air are the most difficult to obtain in the long run. Fire, we need fire in another way of thinking. In Asian awareness arts, we're taking fire into our account to heal our structure. Also, what does healing mean? Healing means that you make it more possible for your structure and your veins and all the things here to flow better. Meaning, if it flow better, the materials the body needs can heal better. So you actually improving your regeneration, and you also remove your the things that hurt here when it's clamped up and such things. You will release that as well. It's part of the healing process to change. Fire is changing things. You can change it fast, and that is uncontrolled fire. But the controlled fire you use to heal yourself and maybe other. Those who can heal others is very much aware of actually using this element correctly. If you know healing, that is the explanation, very simple. You can bend fire inside the person better. So if you knowing how to heal something, it just you extending the consciousness from the body and telling it to heal it more efficiently. Or stretching your joints. Oh yeah, that's the wood element as well. Wood element, you can stretch your body. Like here. My body is very similar in structure, but look what I can do here. It looks like a trick, but I can assure you, every joint that I got from bottom to top, I just stretching out. Just like in a stretcher, we can stretch a little. And what can I use that for? Sometimes I cannot reach things, but then I just reach out, and then I get 2 centimeters more, and then I can pull it back. very good when it's just out of reach. Then you can just, but it require energy, and that's also fire. But fire is more gently with your joints when you're using it correctly. And see how much I can stretch. Whee! I'm not just going up, by the way, I'm just stretching in the same direction. But you can really stretch, and if you're also using these joints and all those things, but practicing, yeah. And you can overdo it. So don't overuse it. It's just because I know my limitations. I know how much I can stretch. But start with small stretching. Just feel the stretching until you can feel, okay, this I can bend easily. This is safe zone. And it's also good for your joints, by the way. So if you got problems with your joints, stretching. I know that for fact for a person who doing yoga as well, and have many more very wise person knowing a lot of things to back it up. So, and I also sometimes use it like stretching like this way out here, but it's because sometimes it locks up here, and then the only way I can do it is like stretching out there, and then it's spaced it. I know I make long clips here. 2 hours. Yeah, I can go 3 easily. I can just sit and just talk because I love the topic of energy. Everything with energy, if you didn't notice. At this point, is important for me. It's all about the energy in itself, all about the basic, and the basic is water. The explanation of it, more like the pictures of it, is that energy comes from below, and then it going around and following the path, like a river that going all around and down again, and reusing the water again in the cycle. And it's taking wood element with it and feeding the wood element with energy that's going up to the air, that also feeding it with energy, and fire that also feeding with energy and giving back, of course, because of fire. And then we cooling the fire, but also combine the energy with the metal and back to the water. So the water gets more quality because it obtain those things. So in the most perspective, water is elementary in this understanding, because it's energy and water when it's outside the water element structure. So from here, when it begins to flow, that changes to obtain other elements and put it with it down until it's back. Just like when we're sleeping, we are processing all the data we have stored for the day. Waking up, that is tree. We begin to grow and get what we need, eating, getting, thinking about what we might have dreamt, or what can we use that for if we suddenly get an idea on the work or something, and maybe think, can we do that actually? And then we're going up to the next step, that you're going on to the work and you meet in and hi everybody. That is element when you also making a count into Okay, what you doing today? Oh, I got this idea here. If we take this and this person here and making this with them, and then it all will fit, because we are a little less than normal, because some of the people is ill now, so we cannot work that efficient. But if you're doing this, it might even work. Let's try that out, okay? That is planning. Air are planning, airing the idea, you can say. Fire is acting on it and say, okay, now we do it. Into working. And sometime you probably need a break because you might hungry. And then you stopping, you work, and then you relaxes, processing food that we use for our breathing to burn the energy. That again going here and stopping, not really, but we stop eating, and then we can begin to start on a new fresh on going on with the work. Okay, where was I left? I was sleeping. Now I'm waking up. Okay, the process was this one we was talking about, and then work again. So the process is actually with us without we knowing. The element is just a flow like it's supposed to be. I don't know why it is arranged like this, but I know ever since it was structured like this, things just fit in. Everything. Mind, everything. How you defeat your depression? You need to study what element is actually breaking you down. I cannot remember exactly where it was. Every part of them have their own categories where it most likely depression is here. I think it was depression is a combination of fire and air, that you circulate only those two elements. I'm really sure that it is because you're not breaking yourself, but you have to start from air and then acting on with fire and then stop the process. That is how you're getting rid of your depression, but it's not that easy because it wants really much to just keep going in these circulations, because that is known, because you feel you're getting somewhere, but in fact the only way you can get somewhere is to get all the way around. The engine shall run slower and not faster. This is burning you out. This are maintaining your life quality. You will live longer by that standard. But our body is, of course, in harmony of this one. If you destroy just one of them with your body, you die. To take one of them out, you die. No water, no worky. No energy fuel in your body. Yeah, then you burn your energy on yourself, your body. No air, yeah, you probably die because of no air. So because the process cannot continue, and the fire we cannot heat up. If we not heat it up enough, we cannot process anything. And if we cannot cool down, if we cannot let go of our heat, we can also burn out and getting overheated. So there we go. So just one of them, then the earth quality is bad. As long as the earth quality in your whatever we're talking about is high, you're basically not breaking. And I know that because I have been to a lot. I should be mental. I should be considered closed in somewhere where they help me maintain and all those things. I should have been there. But because I have focused so much on monk training and all these things with mind and such things, my earth element is just too great, apparently, because I'm still alive, not trying to murder myself or anything. For some reason, my life quality is too strong to break. But everyone can break. It doesn't, like, I cannot. It just, so far it has not broken me, at least. That far I know. Even that I basically ignored and hated, and yeah, let's go basically on with negative. So, but I don't want to make anyone depressed. It's just like, that's my life, that's how it is. A lot of suffering is just my path. No love in my life, nothing is going my way normally. I just want this one dream to come true. If I can begin to teach all these things, then life has a meaning. Then I am something. I don't care about how good I become and such things. If people want to learn, that's my concern. That is my goal. So when you actually, if you donate to me, you are also donating to other people, because I want to actually make something that help other people, that can make things possible. Like homeless can get a home and such things. If my foundings one day coming up, I will make it possible, as long as there is administration power and willingness from other countries to actually make this. I will connect to them, make connection points by making a center of administration in Denmark, for instance, and then split it up all over the world, so people can be rehoused and get a life back on track again. Because if people are homeless, they cannot work. It's a simple rule. People think, oh, they don't care about and blah 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 blah. No, if you are too depressed to work, you are too depressed to work, because you neglect everything. You have to bloom their earth element again. You have to make them learn how to cultivate their own elements again. That's why homeless people cannot just get jobs, and people are angry at them and such things, because they got a good life quality. Look at me, I got good life quality. Yeah, but you are definitely in a good shape. You believe in yourself. How can a person who don't believe in itself able of ever achieve? You have to prove to them that they can win. You have to prove to people they have the power to change it. Not just like some gospel or something. You have to prove to them. If you keep doing this, you will be good at it. And that's also what Asian Awareness Arts is about. Hopefully, that it will be possible for people to actually come in and get free education of something like this, to maintain their goal. that people can come and help and see, oh, I know what the problem is. This element is in unbalance. You need more balance in there. Maybe it's like something, but when the person has learned how the things is and begin to question, that's when they are ready to listen. And that's where you are going in. I will not say this is a miracle thing, but it is definitely make it more easier for you if you got some problems. It will have some impact in your life. Like I say, if this teaching reduces 5% pain, is that better? Does it do more on time? Then it is better than not doing. If you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, that not are good on your body, then it's probably destructive. And that's what all these things is about. Getting in touch with yourself. This is getting in touch with yourself. This is yin, understanding, basically. When you're doing all these things, people talk about wax on, wax off. Yeah. And then you're doing karate and you're definitely not using it like that. It's more like, oh, now I'm done. Now go home. What did Mr. Miyagi tell you? Everything. Cooking. Also karate. Either karate yes or karate no. You cannot be in between. Then it will not work. You have to be it all the day. All time. Or Tai Chi, doesn't matter. Just be in it. The element. Know the element is used. Is the most important. No matter what style you use. This one will increase your level in a way you don't understand. Because I don't yet. I just know it works very well, and so far I have thrown it on everything I can see and everything I have tested it with, and for some reason it's just helping people. The more they understand about it, the easier it is to, that's why it's not working for me. The realization, when they begin to say, hey, I think I got a problem with my air element. Oh, why is that? Because I got this and this and this. Oh yeah, that sounds a lot like air. Yes, you got it right. Then I know, when you are in that position where you can do that easily, then I know you got it. And it is a little training, but it's not like inconvenient or hard work. This one is not hard work. This one is a tool. If you're not using a tool and you try to use a bolt and with your fingers only, then it is hard work. If you use the right tool and you pull, then it's not that hard work. It's lesser hard work. And we can rearrange our length of this tool in cases we need momentum. That is the understanding of this one. We can rearrange our needs to what we need now. Just like, yeah, I've been drunk for some months, but in theory I can stop it as soon as I get loved. But The thing I know is this element is very important when you're drunk. Metal, you really have to do it if you shall balance on something. You just really have to focus down, really squeezing down energy, focusing all your mind into that position. Then you can balance like you're not drunk at all. But it is difficult because when you need to go to the next step, you need to rearrange all that energy and focus again. But it's a good teaching. And you can do it without being drunk, balance on something like the sidewalk of where there's no cars, of course. Don't do it where the cars and it doesn't need to be very high or anything. Just be on the edge, half and half therefrom, and just trying to balance there. Not being like the one or the other side. Trying to be in a position where you can balance on it, but not touching this side here. That is very good practicing. You learn a lot by doing that, especially when you can balance easily. And that's basically where you need to go to the next step in theory. If you want to learn Drunken Fist, you need to go a little further there. With at least 2 glasses of wine, kind of alcohol consuming, if you shall improve that knowledge. And trust me, then you will basically feel that like you're starting all over again. Focusing down, focusing down. But if you are very consistent and very precise, sharp, doing it the same way, drunk or not, you will not feel the difference. But you really have to be sharp to do so. Yeah, I'm doing a lot, and this is just the basic. I'm not even going depth in anything of all those elements. I have not described it. The thing, but you also need to be there to feel it. So that's why I'm making this. It's like open source thing. You can re-script it later on, but never call it Asian Awareness Arts if you re-script it, because this is the way it's supposed to be. But you can go in and say, okay, I rearrange my karate and cleaning out the things that is actually not benefiting my movement, not freeing my movement, not giving me any benefit, basically. If it's not giving you even the benefit that it was supposed to do, why do then? Like I say, Asian Awareness Arts can also be meaning ancient awareness arts, meaning that the old Kung Fu style, how was that exploration? Very important also in Asian Awareness Arts. You just not just going in and say, okay, they did this and blah 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 and story time, and then just close the book. No, story time is equally as the new things. Past and now are very important, and involvement in the longer one. But the 2 first steps is essential for everything in Asian Awareness Arts, because you need to be aware. Oh, here's gold. Here's someone speaking about something. How does that even make sense. How can this even happen? Why does it happen? What shall be to make it able of doing this? You see, that's what all these things is about. What I'm talking is the connections. I'm not trying to reveal everything as a single person, but I do my part. If I see something like Bruce Lee, what he did, I'm trying to excavate what's important and what's not important, and what he probably did. But I can say so much: if you are equally putting energy into every single element and have 6 of them, you shall also know that you are burning 6 times more energy when you're doing so. And so far as I know, because of my limitation, I need to be 100% of everyone to do what he did. But times 6 is 600%, so I have to overclock my body to 600%. Meaning I need more training. I need more constitution training to minimize the percentage, so it's getting closer and closer and closer, so it becomes 1 inch punch without burning all that energy. Your constitution is very important to obtain that. I can take up to 3 elements at the same time maxed out without being too exhausted. But it's still overclock. Not good for body in long-term use. The thing is also a thing that you shall have in your consideration. When you're actually drinking alcohol, you're also getting more air, and that also overclocking your system, meaning that you can actually do more stuff by drinking a little, because of the air in alcohol are easier released. So therefore you got the air and you got a little air in your burning. Therefore you don't need as much oxygen to do the same work. It's chemistry basically. But to do that, you also need to know how to burn alcohol efficiently. You don't just drink it. Drink it, it will not help you so much. Your body shall feel it obtaining the energy all out to the body. And that's where the water comes in. That's where 3 elements and air and fire comes into play. The metal is required more outer than the inner when you do that. But it is only if you know how to handle the things, how to use it. Metal is just structuring you not to fall over and be knocked over. So it's a little more different than what I see. When I see many people in drunken fist, it's wobbling around and they not having control over their metal. This metal is too soft. There's too little of it. They got the wood element and such things, but just listen to me, people that know that. drunken fist. If your metal is not working, I can literally in 2 movements put you down to the earth easily. Your metal shall be in structure, and I don't need to be hard at any point. I just need to have contact with whatever you do, and just and then you're done. Not because of Tai Chi necessarily. It can also be drunken fist or Kung Fu or whatever. Doesn't matter which style. What matters is how I use the element. If I know that your metal is not working, then you flip over very easily, because you need your metal, you need the structure. So yeah, I know many things, and this is just scratching the surface. It's just like, hey, now we know the letters. Can we make a word? No, not yet. We are only making the letters. That is basically what I did here. I'm only explaining things. If you want to know more about it, you have to feel it yourself. I cannot teach you over this as efficient, because I want to know when my teaching is there, is it understood correctly in the body, or is it just theory getting in and not down to the body? There's a big difference. Many people who are just let me just say one thing. Yeah, you got muscles, but do you know how to use your muscle? Many people are saying, yes, I know. See. Yeah, but are you using it efficiently? Can you, in the movement you're doing here, actually warm up just by doing this here? That's what this is about. This structure here is actually warming up my body in the movement. I don't need to doing stretch out and such things directly. I can literally do the things without training, and I will never failure my body fibers like this. I never overburdened my structures here. Why? Because it is more efficient and the body likes it. The structure likes to be tinkled with, so it's getting free from each other and not stuck, because the fibers sometimes get stuck differently. Locations like this, that they are not aligned in the same length. Meaning, if it is here, this one is stretched more out and therefore easily stretched. That is normally what warming up mean, but you don't actually need warming up when you're using your muscle correctly. From the beginning, every movement, do you know how to use your muscles? I'm meaning really. Do you know how to go in and release that structure in your muscles on the go right away? Are you able of? If you can, then it's good. Then I will say, okay, then you know how to do that. But if you need to stretch out first and such things, then you're not learned it yet. Then you're not listening enough to your thing. You shall stretch many times. Your things and joints, feel it many times until you just get that magic touch that just make it slip by itself, like here, going in and there, work out. The lesser you need, the better it is. In Kung Fu movies, sometimes we see that people are stretching out on such things. In theory, you should not need that, actually. Then you're not informed, but sometimes you're just feeling tension, and that's where I'm using stretching out, actually. But I am going to stop it soon here, and I have basically put out everything needed just to start the idea and kickstarting. The best thing I can say to people and advise, if you shall learn Asian awareness arts, which I want to start, water, being in water, feel the water, be part of the water, being able to control water. That's the steps. Being in water, being part of it, very important. Those two are the top. Because it's not like, oh, I'm in the water, yeah, okay, but are you free of moving? Can you feel the small vibrations in the waves and actually increase it in your body, feeling it all the way down to your feet, feel the flow, and then begin to control water. In that matter, there was more steps, but 4 steps, but those are the most important. Feeling and controlling. Control water, you can do many funny things. If you're doing it right, you can, with a movement like this here, make a wave this big here. That's a lot with basically nothing, but you have to follow the water, and you shall feel the water, you shall bend it, basically. The water bender, so to speak. But it's only working in water, of course, but it is a very good exercise. When you got that, and you know Tai Chi, then I will say, then it's time to do Tai Chi in water. Tai Chi in water, feel the flow, not fighting the water, but letting the water be controlled by your movement. Many of the things that Ang is talking about in that movie there from the Last Airbender, those things they are talking about in water, very important stuff. All the other elements, not that important yet, because water is the start of everything. But that's where I will say it will also heal your body from within. It will loosen up things when you begin to be flowing within and controlling water, making water follow you and not you pushing water. That's the difference. Like bending, you're making a wave before you actually make it. Doesn't make sense, maybe, but just think about it when you're doing it. If you feel it like the water almost pulling you with, then it's good. Then I really recognize you for that movement, that it is very strong. And we need it in that alignment of strength to make it strong in ourselves and comfortable. The movement, waves, everything. Like this, Tai Chi. I know it's normally not like that, but some of my Kung Fu, I cannot remember exactly, but there is some form where you're using a finger, like this. So sometimes I forget it. But it doesn't really matter so much about it. It's more the shape here that is more important. This will of course be more stronger if you punch, but if you're using it just to bend the person, like water bending, then it's not that needed. You don't actually need that. This two fingers is the most important, I have found out. This part and these two fingers is the most important in any martial art, so far I know, to learn about how it actually working, but you have to understand the principle first, like these here, because then you can begin to bend your feelings correct, because yeah, it's not that easy to explain it. Where is it? It was here before. Oh, there we go. That was. So to explain it, we take paper here. So we got this, and I pretended it to be a needle. It is a clip, paper clip. So it's not pointy. But the thing is, when we're using the fingers, we're not using the fingers it itself, but we transfer the force into the location, and this is partly Tai Chi, partly Kung Fu understanding, because Shaolin monks is basically doing it. So here you extend from here and out until there, but all the energy going only into this little location here, the stretching, all your energy aligned to the point here, the little tip here, you aligned it there, but you're not forcing it directly, you're more like slowly increasing and growing like a tree. Then you puncture it at some point. That's how you use it. But also when you're using metal, and that is the later training, then you're also using the metal element here to structure at the same time. When you combine those two forces, you can really get people down, strong people. But metal is most efficient when there is resistance. So it's like saying if you're not having enough amperage, you're not moving the person. And most people who are big knows their limitations. And if they can see, oh, you're not strong enough, yeah, then you're not going anywhere. But that's what air element is for, not getting too close. But you cannot defend yourself all the time. Maybe you're right. But if person is very clumsy and you can run from him, why fight him? Yeah. And like I say and see, in OL was better this year. Bronze medal, very good Danish person. I didn't see the other, but I saw that person, and I will say, okay, he earned that belt, thing, because he knew what he was doing with his element. Just go and rewind it. Here, 2004, 2024, OL, Taekwondo. That fight therefrom was gold worth. The kick, he was using his energy to bounce up and punch and kick him. That's what I remember. That is one of the metal element I'm talking about. Being able to bounce off and getting along. Just like a vibrating sword. That's basically what he did. Pam, in, pam, and punch. Dojo chakra. Down. Very good. And that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Taekwondo when I see Taekwondo. I'm not some kind of boxing who have kicks in it. I want to see Taekwondo like Taekwondo. Real Taekwondo. What I see back then. And I did so. I saw that and I was impressed. Thank you. There's nothing more, I don't know. One time I saw karate and I was just like, is this boxing? What? Where's the getamai? Where's the and where's those? Pam, pam. Just something. Stoge. Pam, pam. Something. They were not there. They didn't block so much. But that was not this year, but last year. Guess, winter, OL. Or summer, OL. Something, OL. But I was just disappointed to see that. It was just like, okay, those women were better than the men in fighting. With their katas, they were better at katas than they were fighting. They were not karate at all. And as I say, if you cannot fight in the way it is trained, like getamai, like deep stand and such things, if you cannot do that, I will say, if you cannot defend yourself in that position, then you're not ready yet. Then you're not. But it is not meant to be fighting like that when you are in a battle position. No, but you should be able to do it. Either way. I like it to see it like that, then you're doing like that. Deep stance is a thing also. See Shaolin monk before? They do it. Simply as that. But I think I will end it here. Also because of my cat is coming in now and I like to go and have something to eat. So So sure, thank you very much, and I am happy to that people actually showed up. I don't know if it is restricted for some reason or something, but one thing is for sure that I'm used to people who are not good to others, and people have to respect each other more, because there is sometimes gold in those people you don't believe have anything. Even a homeless person might know something that the whole world don't. Don't underestimate anyone. Sometimes you will see yourself as a fool when you reject a person and you see, why on earth was I like that to that person? Live the life where you don't regret anything you do. At least try. That's the minimum you can do. How else can I get so many friends as I could do? Because I listen to them. Even when it makes no sense, maybe I find something in it. And then I see, no, oh, that's why you're talking about this. Ah, now I understand. Because nonsense is not always just nonsense. Nonsense is sometimes just another way of describing the same thing you describe in another way. Taking things into account. The best thing you can do is relax and just let go. But in our busy world, we don't have time to listening. We don't have time to realizing. We judge other people because of our goals. But the reason why I'm rejecting people from Tai Chi is because they're not listening to what I have to say. And if they're not listening, they're not learning. It's because you're not listening. Like Jackie Chan in Forbidden Kingdom. That is what we're very much not good at in the world. Monk learns to listen. And in my teaching, I expect people to go down to that level as much as possible. Not that they are perfect or anything. I just expect them to go to the most relaxed position they can get, and then just try to listening and understand what it is. Sometimes you just roll, and suddenly it just snaps. You meaning like this? Yes, exactly like that. Very good observation. And it is very giving when people doing that, because sometimes you realize something and other people are like you, around you. And when you nail it, you're helping many people around you just by saying those few words that is needed for everyone to understand. Like I say, there's not one way of describing elements. There's multiple ways of describing it. But this one will always be very efficient system, so far as I know. I tested on everything I know. You can learn to be better without practicing. If you begin to understand the elements more and you clean training, water, tree, and so on, even earth. The more you can clean and clear out errors from other elements, makes more control over your elements. That means that you can use them in an instant instead of slowly turning. And now we got another element. That is too long if you are in defense system. And trust me, I'm not that good actually, but I can shift very quickly in circumstances. But it's because my memory of muscles are able of doing it. Sometimes I can't, other times I can, because reaction coming in to play and doing it efficiently. But metal is one of those I actually training up to bend faster and faster and faster until it is purified as much as possible. It doesn't matter how good you are in the principle, it's how purified your elements is that make you a more flexible fighter. It's more dexterity, it's strength, and it's everything. You get more of everything. Constitution as well, because you're not using too much muscle. Meaning you can fight longer. I can throw, if one person in karate make one punch, I can make 4 compared to how much oxygen I need. I need way more less oxygen. And that means that I can fight more efficiently, meaning long-term fighting is more possible for me compared to my degree. Because many people are thinking, but you are not the same degree. Yes, I am. If you're thinking about the energy I'm using, it's same level. But it is the efficiency that is this difference, because I purify my elements. And therefore, and that's why people don't understand the challenge rating system is unbalanced. If you really want to compare 2 persons in same level, you need to use my degree system, because it's more accurate. It gets mind more correct. It gets your self-defense more correct, because it have certain structure. Over here, from here and over, that is first dan. So in your structure, then I know exactly where you are. And also in your technique and your chi reflex. So if you shall compare what is most efficient in low level compared to high level and such things, or the most overall martial art, if you want that, that is more efficient to use that form of term. In that matter, I will say, in beginner, I will say Kung Fu is the most efficient because you get so much more out of it. In the long run, I will say Tai Chi is the most efficient. But people rarely get that high in degree. Compared to self-defense, most do not come over brown belt. There we go. I will say Jet Li is probably the only first dan Tai Chi user I have seen so far in self-defense. So if you want to see Tai Chi being efficiently, then I will say he is the best offer to say that's the guy you probably need to compare to, because if you're comparing to other just Shen style and such things, Yeah, but how you actually describing it compared to karate is, yeah, you're not basically black belt because you're not in the position, you're not in the superposition like Tai Chi are supposed to be, because I can see it, you're losing because you are focusing on your technique too much. That make you bad at acting in the moment, in the present moment. And that's why I go back to the basic of the monk's way of thinking. If you need to make Tai Chi work, you need to go back to where the roots losing connections. And keep going until you really understand it. You cannot just skip ahead and say, okay, now I'm black belt. No. Hey, you're not black belt before I say so in my system. Because I know my system and I know exactly where the limit is. Here is the limit. It's very accurate. Compared to other styles, some martial art, first dan is compared to second dan, but sometimes when they're getting higher, they are higher than the other dan and such things. So you cannot really say this is the same cue. Being a green belt in Taekwondo equal to karate green belt, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe the one is better in some circumstances and karate is better in that matter, so I don't really know exactly. I'll say karate is maybe a little more consistent in a fighting condition, because what I have seen so far, where I have been taught, it has been very unreliable green belts. Sometimes they felt lesser and sometimes they felt higher. Where karate is more, when you are with the green belt, it's basically the same thing when with all other. They have a different way of doing it, but it's not changing much. So, potato, I guess. And sometimes Taekwondo getting a little overhaul and then karate coming over and such things when they come to a certain degree. I cannot tell if it is comparable. I don't have the skills for it. Simply. Which is best? Is Aikido better in beginning, or I will say maybe not compared to karate, it is not, because you basically need at least 2 steps in their system to be consistent, efficient. But when you then come up to first dan, is that comparable with karate first dan, or is it better, or is it worse? I really don't know, because it depends on something where it vibrates. Where my system is more like, this is the level I expect you to be able to parry. This point of hit, I expect you to being able to at least block them. Maybe not directly going in and block and such things, because that is not important as much when you first have gripped me and then putting me in position. Then I know, okay, we don't need to go all the way down, because waste of time, because I know you can block, so that doesn't matter. It's more how efficiently can you turn it over to where you're beginning to win, and else is not important. That you can drop me down and block me and such things, waste of time, because I want to see if it is consistent. Can you keep going? Can you keep blocking? Is it efficient? Or can I actually, with a little more skills or changing my style to another style, can I still beat you in that position? Or is it consistent? Is it a thing that keep coming up It's like a quality. How purified is your martial art? Self-defense when you're saying my degrees in specific points. Are we green belt or brown belt or black belt? That's basically the steps and yellow belt. There's no other steps. All other steps is compared to your techniques and all the other things that balance it out. So there's no need for all those between. Comes basically from the understanding of Aikido. And that's what I want to make. I want to make sure when you are in the right position, are they equal to each other? The fighting style doesn't matter so much, but are they equal, able of defending before we put them together from two different martial art? So it not becoming boring and just slam, 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 slam. Yeah, it's obvious basically because the person is basically not black belt like you. But yeah, this is more consistent because it have a certain level. Can I use tiger grip on you, or are you flexible enough to avoid that? How good is your defense? Because attack is not as important. It's more like countering attack. Counting. Like spell counter. I counter a spell before it hit me. And then I can go in and prove the point, ding ding ding, here's locking and here I could go, but I don't because I have proven my point. I cannot get free. Then I basically know what's going on. When I begin to turn this way, then I know, okay, you have one here, from here. No need for further information. Just to the point where I can feel, okay, now you got the full control, you can throw me down and lock. But not necessary. Also because of my joints, I have problem with my joints, so it's more like being nice to each other. There can be problems from sport to sport, and therefore we are going to go in an agreement not to hurt each other, but to prove a point if we have one. If you are more superior, yeah, but don't be a jerk. Just prove your point and move on. Don't harm anyone. And that's why I will say that some MMA are jerks, because it's the one who's proven all these things. Yeah, but he's standing up against a Tai Chi master who is basically only brown belt, and he's basically fourth dan compared to Shotokan Karate. Not a fun fight to watch, because he's definitely higher level. But no, you are fourth dan compared to, your skills are fourth dan. You fighting a brown belt. Of course you're going to win mostly. What do you expect? And slapping a person who is laying down and also old man, that's not fun to watch either. Asian awareness art is about respecting. Oh, the person proved his point. Okay, it doesn't work. Something is wrong. Then we don't slap the person just because that's what we used to do in our sport. Yeah. But here you are here just to show how does this move. It's not like ding ding. It is to learn how to be better. Because one thing is for sure, if you meet a person who knows Tai Chi in a way higher level than you will be slapped down to the ground before you even noticed, if you have fought them. And that will either not be fun to watch, but it will just prove a point. But they don't slap you. on and on and on. They just throw you down, and then you're rolling around, and then they just walk out. That's basically Tai Chi for you. Tai Chi don't need to hurt people, if you know. But the level, yeah. It's a little more different question. And that's why I'm making these statements. If you're second dan in my system in self-defense, the thing is, if two second dans meet each other, the first one attacking is losing automatically. That's the defend level. Maybe a hypothesis, maybe it's a utopia, but yet that's where it is. And I'm not changing it, because why? Why should I change it? It's the most supreme you can do. If you are second dan, you basically, out of 20, you will win. If you're not attacking. But people are more like, yeah. But the thing is, if I say, hey, you shall attack, I shall be able to see it both ways. That they will be equally skilled. So no matter what they do, none of them want to attack the other, basically, in theory. But it is such a high position, and how to claim that position is to practicing with a first dan, until there is no other laws than you move first, you lose. That's the simple thing. Out of 20, only 21 count might go either equal or maybe winning, but it shall be very consistent. And it shall also prove that normal people cannot just going in and do things with you. If they push you, you basically win before they even started pushing. It's like the most supreme level. Some few people in Aikido can maybe achieve it. I don't know about karate, but there is some people who are very difficult, not that far from. But as I say, when you're going up to black belts, it's harder to gain control. Where Tai Chi we start basically at black belt teaching. And when we're coming up to this location, all the way here, nothing is really happening until you reach here. So your self-defense is not working if you are below first dan compared to. That's how it works. Technique is just cleaning errors from it and make it strong and some things. It's basically metal structure. I gone on to 3 hours. Like I said, I can easily go 3 hours talking. But I end the stream here. Sure.